What's up, y'all? This is Henny. Listen, today we're going to talk about these iPads, what's new, what's coming up, and what you should try to invest in 2021. I've had this one since it came out. This is the iPad Pro 2020. Let's talk to 2021 models. What can we expect? What's new? What's changed? What should you get? Now, y'all know I do everything on my iPad Pro. So when it comes to new iPad rumors, you know I get hype. Let's get into it right now. Let's go! The business. So let's talk about the current iPad lineup. We have the new iPad Air that just came out in the fall, right? We have the original iPad, and that's the cheapest one at $329. The iPad Air starts at $599, right? We have the iPad Pro that starts at $799. Of course, we have two versions of that, the 11-inch and the 12.9-inch. And then we have the iPad Mini, which starts at $399. So all in all, we have a lot of iPads to choose from already. So when it comes to an iPad event that's scheduled to be released this month, what's going to be new, what can we expect, and what should we get hyped for? Let's go. The first thing that we know is that the new iPads are going to come with a new processor, right? The iPad Pro 2020, this one right here, comes with an A12X chip, right? And for the most part, I've been able to do everything with this chip with no hiccups, whether it's 4K, editing nonstop, multiple layers of it, whether it's multiple plugins inside a DAW using something like Bazness or AUM for music production, whether I'm doing a lot of editing and rendering using apps like Darkroom, or even doing some graphic things in Procreate, this thing has not given me any hiccups. So when it comes to the processor, I don't know how much better I need, but of course, let's talk about that in a second. So the new iPad Pro is rumored to get the A14X Bionic chip, which is the same as the ones that are in the new M1 Max, which makes it seem really crazy to think about all the things that everybody's being able to do on their Macs and what we can see and possibly see with the new iPad Pros in 2021. The second thing that we're rumored to see is a new screen, and that's going from Liquid Retina to Mini LED. And if you really don't care about the screen and how dark the blacks are, how white the whites are, how crystal clear it is, if you don't need high dynamic range, and all of the things that we're seeing now with the iPhone 12s, the iPhone 12 Pros, this might not be something that you really care about. But Mini LED is going to give you those rich, darker blacks, but it's not going to be OLED, which is kind of has its own issues with it. So the new iPad Pros are rumored to have Mini LED, and we're not sure if that's going to go across the whole iPad line down the line, or if they're just going to start and stick with the iPad Pro. So for me doing all my video editing, all my photo editing, graphics, those types of things on my iPad, to have a better screen, to be able to see more high dynamic range, to be able to have a lot more clarity in the way I see my images, that could be something that, sways me to go more towards the newer model. And if you're like me and you like to watch a lot of content on your iPad, then it's going to give you an even more immersive experience with the Mini LED panel. Another rumor that has me super hyped is that Apple might go from having a USB Type-C connection inside the iPad to a Thunderbolt USB Type-C connection in the iPad Pros. So what does that do? It allows for a lot more peripherals to work with your iPad Pro, giving it an even more, professional experience. So for us musicians out there having products from Universal Audio, like their Apollos and their Arrows, their Thunderbolt audio interfaces, we'll be able to use products like that and maybe even see getting apps from Universal Audio to be able to have situations to make it an even more professional experience with an iPad. Or if you want to use some of these more powerful docks, right? Some of these more powerful things that Thunderbolt carries because of the speed, then you're going to be able to see that with the iPad Pro. It'll differentiate itself from these older iPads from giving it an even more professional experience using that different connection. And of course, we'll probably get updates to connectivity. Right now, these iPads have Wi-Fi and LTE connections. I believe it's still Wi-Fi 6. The new 2021 iPad Pros are rumored to come out with Wi-Fi 6E and possibly 5G, just like the new iPhone 12. So if you're somebody who uses your iPad on the go a lot and you need those types of connectivity, that might mean something to you. But if LTE and Wi-Fi 6 is enough, then, hey, you'll probably just be good with what the current model has. The other thing would be memory and storage with these new iPad Pros, right? Currently, the new iPad Pro 2020 has up to a 1 terabyte storage option and 6 gigabytes of RAM. I'm not sure if they're going to go past 1 terabyte of storage, but I do hear that they might be bumping up the RAM to 8 gigabytes of RAM. So that'll give you even more flexibility to do even more plugins and even more graphics processing, a lot of other things that you can do with adding 2 more gigabytes of RAM to your iPads. Now, the iPad cameras, do we ever use them? If you use your iPad's camera for any way other than FaceTime, let me know in the comments section, man, because I don't ever use the camera for my iPad at all. So I don't know. They might be updating it with better cameras, using the LiDAR with cameras. They still have the LiDAR sensor in there. Who knows? But the other huge announcement might be the redesign of the iPad Mini 5. Now, I did a review on my iPad Mini 5 that I still have here in the house. I love that form factor. I love the size of it, how portable it is, how powerful it can be. Rumor has it that the new iPad Mini 6 will have a similar design as maybe the iPad Air or these iPad Pro 2020 models, which is going to give you those flatter bezels. It's going to give you more screen real estate, and it's just most likely going to have a USB Type-C connection. But also, rumors have said that they might keep the Lightning port connection, which, either way, I see its benefits. But I think that if it had the USB Type-C connection, it would give you a lot more flexibility to use some of these hubs and peripherals. I just don't know if the power consumption can handle that. So if they do stick with Lightning, then all the Lightning adapters, all the Lightning cables will still work just the same, but it'll give you that new look to it. So I'm not sure if that iPad Mini would do enough to, sway somebody who has an iPad Mini 5, but man, I'm telling you, with the updated processor, with the better and bigger screen, and with possibly having USB Type C with it, and they might throw in, Wi-Fi 6E and 5G. Hey, you're looking at a crazy portable device that, is, the size of that iPad mini. I swear that iPad mini size is incredible. Now, will it have its own keyboard and, the things like this where, the magic keyboard and all of those things? Probably not, because I don't know how they're going to fit a full-size keyboard to fit that iPad mini 6. But the other thing we'll probably see with the iPad mini 6 is having that Touch ID on the side like the iPad Air. Just like they don't have Face ID on the new iPad Airs, I don't see why they would give Face ID to the iPad Mini 6. So it'll probably be that same Touch ID that's on the side like the iPad Air. So what is my recommendation? We got all these new iPads and rumored new iPads around the corner. My thing is this: if you're going to be somebody like me, right, who wants to do as much as possible on your iPad, whether you're doing it professionally or you're doing it as a hobby, whatever, and you want the best of the best, and maybe you already have something like, the 2017 iPad Pro, or, something a little older than that, you should definitely wait and see what happens this month with these new iPads. Getting something like the new iPad Pro and investing in something like that would probably change the game for you when it came to speed, processing, and, connectivity. But if you're somebody who loves your iPad size, for it to be able to fit in a little bag, in a purse, in a sling, in a little knapsack, and you just want something that you can take around with you that's a little bit bigger than a phone, that you can do a little bit more with, pencil support, all of those things, and maybe you have one of the older iPad minis, you should probably look into maybe seeing what happens with this iPad Mini 6. But if you're somebody like me who always seems to want the latest and greatest, what is it that these new iPads are truly going to do for our productivity? The two things that'll probably be game changers for me would be getting that mini LED screen so that I can, color grade and do things with my videos, since I do this YouTube thing all the time, edit pictures, thumbnails, those things where I want to be able to have the best quality screen that I'm looking at when I'm editing my stuff. And then two, having that Thunderbolt connection so that I'll be able to connect even more things to my iPad, because if we can get better peripherals and better connectivity to these iPads, it really changes the way that you use them. But the biggest question of all is, will they update and give us pro apps? All the apps that we have on the App Store for the iPad are amazing, but they could definitely be taken up a whole notch when it comes to music production and possibly with video editing. I have no issues with video editing on the iPad, and I've been doing it for the last 3 years, and you've been seeing it for the last 3 years on this channel using LumaFusion. So can we get Logic Pro on the iPad? That's the game changer that I want to see. Those big DAWs. Can we get Final Cut Pro on the iPad? Can we get some of these bigger apps ported to this type of device so that those who really truly want to do professional work and not have to be limited just by just what the apps are? Come on, Apple, you know what's up. You know what we need. Give us those pro apps that go along with all of this power that are in these devices. I don't know. What's y'all thoughts? What will be the thing that sway you to a new iPad this year? And which one are you be looking at? But that's it. Just wanted to give you a quick update. I know that, we should be on the lookout for a new March event from Apple, and that will be, catered towards the iPads. And I'm excited to see what happens. But, let's not get our hopes up if we don't get everything that we want. Hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Start the week off right. And I'm out.